Hi there, my name is Shannon, and I am here with another episode of Distant Voices, talking with Scott Oviatt, who is the survey supervisor for the Natural Resources Conservation Service, um, uh, Service Oregon. Sorry about that. Scott, how's it going?
Very good, thank you.
So to get right into it, what kind of effects did the massive heat wave last month have on the snowpack here in Oregon?
Well, the majority of our snowpack, which affects surface water, had previously melted out due to the unseasonably warm conditions we had in late April and May. So a lot of the stream flow benefits that we normally see in the springtime were already essentially downstream at that point. However, with the extreme heat event, a lot of the high elevation snow, in particular on Mount Hood, melted very rapidly, and we did see some damage, for instance, on some infrastructure and roadways on the eastern side of Mount Hood. So that loss is not beneficial, of course, because that's a water supply that would enhance or continue stream flows throughout the summer months, and it with that rapid melt out and washing downstream, it makes it unavailable for future use. So it is a concern.
And where exactly on Mount Hood were those damages?
It was on the East Fork of Mount Hood River, so that it was the northeast side where the large snowfields generally maintained throughout the year. The lower flanks of that melted out so rapidly just due to those warm temperatures that we've talked about.
And so, as you mentioned, last month's heat wave was hardly the first abnormally warm weather that we dealt with this year. So, I guess, sort of, how bad off were we already going into that heat wave?
Yeah, across the region, we had melted out our snowpack 2 to 3 weeks early. In addition, we've had a very dry spring with most mountain locations, our measurement sites, our snow tell sites, um, receiving record low amounts of precipitation since March 1st. So that, in combination with previously low stream flows, the rapid melt out of the snowpack, led to the drought conditions which are being seen across the state and across the region at this point. So without that surface water, we have less available for irrigation, for water storage, for in-stream support of salmon fisheries and those type of things. So and then we go into the fact that the hot temperatures with the hot winds exacerbated things like the cherry crops and the blueberry crops. So there are concerns across the region.
So I guess just looking more year wide, how abnormal is the snowpack that we're seeing this year?
Well, that's an interesting question because it's not necessarily abnormal. We saw above normal snowpack accumulated through April 1st. However, the rapid melt out of that and with the warmer temperatures leads to the downstream flows much sooner in the year than we're used to or that we plan on, from municipalities for agricultural purposes and for in-stream flows, even recreation. So there's all kinds of things that are going on with it. The main thing that we've been seeing, if we always keep referring to the last 20 years or so, is these widely variable and extreme conditions. We're getting warm temperatures in the middle of winter. We're getting excessively warm temperatures, as we've talked about at the end of June. Plus, then we have things like the extended ice storm and snowstorm we had in February here. We've had floods in Eastern Oregon. So we're seeing all kinds of extreme events, and I think that's the biggest challenge that we as residents of the Pacific Northwest are facing at this point.
Yeah, kind of on that note, I'm curious if your team completed the recent 30-year averages period that would have ended in 2020, and if so, did you see any sort of noteworthy shifts?
We are in the process, NRCS is in the process of recalculating hours. They will become active on October 1st, the beginning of the 2022 water year, which is October 1st, 2021 through September 30th, 2022. So the Weather Service and a few other agencies have completed. I think you've seen the press releases and the impacts there. We fully anticipate seeing some of the same things, the shift in the normals to reflect those warmer temperatures and variable conditions that we've seen over the last 30 years from 1991 through 2020.
All right, Scott. Well, those are actually all my questions, unless you have anything that you would like to add or ask or clarify.
I think we as a society are facing challenging times now, responding to these widely variable conditions, plus the lack of surface water. Surface water, of course, is what makes our area thrive in terms of fisheries, agriculture, recreation, and we need to find ways to become sustainable and resilient to respond to these changing conditions.